Good day. So, tailgate in, gaps. We've talked lots about gaps. I'm going to show you some of the weird things you have to do to make them just right. When I go to a car show and I'm walking down the lines of cars, I like the ones that might not be highly refined, some that are unfinished. But if I'm looking at a highly refined car, one of the first things that catches my eye is the gaps. So as I walk by, I can see. And if it's a really high-end car, that's something that's absolutely critical. Doesn't matter, daily driver. Cars move around all the time when you drive them. But here we go. We're looking at the tailgate here on the Nomad. And if you look at that gap, it's a little tight up here, but it's pretty even most of the way down. So that side, I'm going to grind this top edge back just to make it even. You can, I could zip cut here and tap it back, but I don't have chrome to worry about on here. The chrome's on the lid. This has chrome, so you have to bear in mind when you're shortening panels that you don't shorten them so that trim won't fit. Now here, okay, you can see this is tight. This is wide. And you can see some marks here. This was all beat, pushed in, right? Anyhow, I put this piece in. So I was hammering on this lip because it was a bit high, and by hammering this in, it moves it over. But it looks like I may have to, we're not talking much. I'm going to open the door and I might run a bead just on that corner, just a hair. But up here, I'm going to grind it back. And once you grind back the door skin, then you have to run some beads on it, because on any door, they fold the tin over, right? And that's what holds the skin on. Up here, it's folded over. So when I grind this edge, I'll be pretty much right through where it folds over. So I have to re-weld it. And, this thing got hit pretty good. So you can see all the spot welds quite easy. See those? So I think it's safe to run a bead on this edge, because this is, whenever this got hit, this is tweaked out a bit. So I'll run a bead on the edge and grind it and see how it looks. But we'll do this gap first. I've adjusted the door. That's our fancy polished hinges. I don't want them getting sparked up. So I'm going to start with a little bit of grinding on these top corners. And then we'll run a bead on them. And that's how we'll get our gaps. And all this has to do, I think honey is the boss, of course. So I have to go let the dog in. There. Okay, so grinder right here. Where's my goggles? Okay, doesn't take much. Now you can see how much that opened up. So I got to run a bead on that now. And I'm just trying to decide. No, I think that's good. Yeah, so I'll run a bead on that. And I'm going to check the other side here for the grinder so I have it. That's good at the top. So, I'm going to run a bead on the edge of that door. And then, I can grind it back. Yeah, okay, let me show you. you look there, you can see that I ground right through the lip. You can see the different layers of metal now. So that's what I'm grinding. Welding. And then it'll be a bad gap again, and then I'll re-grind it, but I'll have penetrated far enough in that I won't be grinding through. Okay. So you go, yeah, that's not a big deal. But wait till we get to the doors. You imagine that whole edge has to be done? Sometimes it does. And you just do it. It's not difficult, it just takes some time. This does everything when you're doing a really nice job. Okay. It's just that easy, folks. Got that one small corner. This other side's going to take a bit more. This gap is a bit wide in here. Pull it back out. And actually, the door goes in here a bit. I'm going to get a straight edge and show you. Okay. I guess it's probably hard to see. Wow. But trust me. Right here. From about here to here. Yeah. So I'm going to run a bead down there. Now again, you have a bunch of trim on that particular spot. You'd have to watch if you didn't change the look of it or the fit of it. It's pretty easy that a lot of times there's glue or even mud and dirt on the inside where it's folded over from 80 years, 70 years, anyhow. So once you're burning all the way through, you'll find some porosity can pop up on you. And really you just gotta keep burning, grind it, weld again. If there's actual rust, you'll find out. But a lot of times there's glue. When they pinch it over, it's stuck in between the layers. So it can be really difficult to get a clean weld. This isn't going bad. We got a little pop here. And this is also, I'll lightly grind this. And this is where you use the metal file to make it perfectly straight. So the hand file. So for now, I'm going to grind that down rough and see how I'm doing. Okay, let's see how it looks. Yeah, it's better, but it's not good enough. I'm still rolling here. So I think, yes, looking at this, this needs a bead here because this part goes in. I mean, this is not exciting stuff, but this is the stuff that makes a nice car different from a freaking awesome car. Making every gap tight and nice. So I'm going to burn a bit of a bead down here. We're talking less than a 16th. It doesn't need much. This is close. I'll hand file that. But for now, I know I need more here. I'm going to burn a little bit of a bead on there. And I got to warn the air fitting that's leaking. Okay. Now, and it's not for everybody. A lot of people, it's not that critical. You just make them nice. They don't have to be amazing. For me, just for professional reputation, I want to make them amazing. Even if you said, they don't have to be that good, I would, a guy like Lyle, he's got a lot of nice cars. I want this to be as good as any one of the others. Okay, now I'm going to lightly grind this, and then we'll have a good look at it. Big time. Okay, it's not perfect yet, but you look at that, that's way better. So I will do some more. You can see there's a little bit here, a little bit here. You can look, it's not like I built up a big wall there, just a little bit. And that'll get ground a little more. So that's where it's going to sit. I got to add some to the door from here to here, and just a hair here and here. So you can see it's real freaking basic. But if you're sitting at home in the shop working on your own car, you know, sitting there in an evening with the tunes going, you can easily do a gap, doesn't matter how big it is, and make it perfect. And the next day, do another one. So this is simple stuff. If it had to go very far, like an 8, I could zip cut here, move it out, and then fill the gap, right? Or if it worked out, I would just keep building up the edge of the door. If this was too far that way, you would zip cut and tap this edge back. It's real simple stuff. It's just, you got to be careful. You're moving the right piece and you're not negatively affecting how the chrome fits or hinges or anything else. So now I'm so close, I'm going to get a marker so that I can leave the door open while I weld and make it nice. Wow. Okay, so those marks make sense to me. We've got this area there. It all has to be built up on the door. That is just a very short spot. That's a very short spot. Same there. The length of my little line tells me how far I got to go out. This is about medium. So anyhow, I'll quit boring you with the details and I'll get it welded up and come back and show you. Now, it's not quite definable what's different when you walk past the tailgate of a car like this, but it's tight. It just fits right. Not 100% done. There will be, like I say, some hand filing, but we're really close. You can see my transition right here to there. See that section? That's how particular we have to get. And I'm going to do another box right on the very bottom corner here. You can see that in the bottom corner. But that's pretty cool. But it's not there. It's very close. But yeah, I'm going to build up in here. Come back after that and show you the finished. Okay, there we have it. Dig that. Whoop. Yeah. There. A pretty nice gap. There'll be a little bit of hand filing, but we're pretty good. This side here is just a hair on the tight side. So I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm going to take a block of wood. I'm going to tap against this side a bit just to see, because I don't want to deform this. But the side's just a little, I mean, I could adjust the door over the other way just a hair. But I mean, not much. 1/16 of an inch. Yeah, it's pretty good. See, once you get into it, then you start getting a little persnickety. And you should. So, don't know if I want to take, I mean, I could easily grind that back. But I got to be very careful because the weather stripping's on the back side of this. And you can take it back a hair. Boy, oh boy, that's tight. And you have to allow for your primer, your paint, and your clear coat, which has some pretty good build on it. So I could take porta power and try to spread this, but that's getting a little carried away. What I am going to do, I'm going to try this. There isn't a bunch of lead here, so I'm going to zip cut, and I'm going to tap this back. So I'm going to put a zip cut in here, tap it, and see if I get enough or too much. And this is another reason why it's just so hard to try to figure out how much it's going to cost when someone says, what will it take to paint my car? Now there is a piece of chrome that goes on here, but I'm doing like a 1/16 of an inch, just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to cut down some more and get a block of wood. Normally I have a piece of hardwood. I suppose a hammer handle, not the best. Yeah, you can see the difference. This is what we're fixing. And there we're open again. And I will shift the door a bit sideways when we're final fit, because I can even up. There's the 1/16 of an inch difference from side to side. So that's the kind of thing we take care of now. And I've got to finish welding up here. As you can see, it's all coming together. And we just keep doing it. And this is one thing you can do totally by yourself. It's totally easy. And put your car on the next level. Perhaps unnecessary level. But it's cool. Still recommend build your car first, then decide how picky you want to get. I'm making sure this hasn't dived down on me. Okay. Run a few more beads. I'll do a bunch more of this and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. Okay, rough ground, we'll do some more, but there you go. So you make your gaps beautiful, simple, easy work, tedious, but it makes a big freaking difference on the finished product. I highly recommend it. I see I ran a little bead on here. Yeah, just to flush that out. Now I can't finish these until I have the brand new ones that we have. Tail light bezels, but I'm happy with this. I could actually take this door off now and do the body work on it. I got a couple things I got to pin weld, pull out. That's a beautiful door. I got to body work the inside of it, so I fit it. Now it's safe to take the body off in regards to the door. So now we're going to go ahead. I'm going to finish the other side of the floor up front. I just needed a change, so I'm going to go do that this afternoon so I can mount the other bucket seat. And once I get the other bucket seat mounted and I finish with the column, then we hang the doors, front fenders, and we're on the downhill slope. Cheers. Okay, we've been hard at work on this side. So I made a brace and put it in just like the other side. An angle brace on the back on this floor support. We tied into the original floor support. And we put a piece of angle 1.5 inches. So we can set the seat in and we can make some marks and drill some holes. We're going to call red one the hot. And looks like we're going to call the big one in here the brown. That's going to be the ground. Negative. Don't enjoy wiring on newer cars because we can fry a brain, a module, some really expensive stuff. We're hooking one wire up wrong, right? So, I gotta plug this back in under the seat. Let me see. Maybe I'll get you a better vantage point. Oh, I'm not quite as disorganized as it used to be. But, oh, look at that. Okay, it works. Does oh yes, and this reclines. That's really nice seats. We're going to go ahead again to make sure I got the back marked properly, and then we take this seat back out. We drill some holes. I didn't quite mark that the way I wanted to. Okay. I got to see. There's a bit extra track sticking out back here, and I'm going to have to see if I can cut that off. Probably not. And that's something. I mean, the seats aren't normally going to be way ahead. They're going to sit around there. I'm going to take it right back. Okay, so these are flush on the front with each other, so I know that's good. I'm just going to have a seat to see how it feels, because you want to make sure you're square to the dash, right? Oh yeah, oh this is great. I'm centered on dash. Both sides have the same cutout on the dash, so this is good. Yeah. So then once I get both seats in here, after I finish building my floor, we set up the seats and the steering wheel, and we figure out where the shifter goes. And then once we got that, we can make some marks, and then we can take it all out. I have to fit the glove box, the ashtray, all these things to make sure the gaps are nice and good right across. I gotta find out, are we blanking the stereo? Or are we putting the stereo in there? Is there extra buttons for air conditioning or things like that? You gotta find out all these things now during the start of the build to save a nightmare later, right? A whole lot of stuff to be concerned about. Right now we're just concerning ourselves with the seat. So now I can take this out. I've marked everything. The two inside holes go right through. The two outside holes have threads, nut certs, and that's how I attach the seat. Okay, so what that was all about. I've marked this hole. You drill and weld in a nut cert, some kind of a thread. This, I'm going to put a pipe in here, and that's going to go all the way through, and I'm going to put a pipe in here so when you tighten it up it doesn't crush the floor support. This one we just drill And it's gonna be a two-man job because I'm not welding a nut on the bottom side. I could. I'll talk to Lyle. Leave that up to the client there. But right now, I can prime a bunch of this, and I can start making drill my holes, get my threads done, and then I can start making this panel like I did on the other side. Might seem like a small point, but this is threaded, and I'm going to sink that into the floor. So I don't just cut my hole just big enough. I'm going to make it a lot bigger still, so that when I weld this in, I'm welding not just on the top lip here. I'm going to be welding down here a ways. So I'm cutting that hole way oversized. The reason I don't want to go all the way through or weld it from the bottom is there is a body mount right about here. So I don't want to mess with that. I got to weld it from the top. I mean, I could weld a nut to a big heavy piece of steel and cut out a big chunk. Anyhow, this is going to work. But I'm cutting the hole extra big just to make sure I can get lots of penetration. Okay. Weld her up there. Yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's right against another mount for the body. Of course. Wow. Murphy's Law. Look it up. Murphy's Law is real. If something can go wrong, it will. It really shouldn't. Absolutely not. Yeah, I like that. I'm happy. Okay. So, now, what I was trying to explain before, I will explain now. So, this is nothing really remarkable, but if you have a piece of channel like this, and you're going to put a bolt through it, imagine this is your floor channel, and you're going to put a bolt through it and tighten it up. It's going to squish down flat. So we cut a piece of pipe or tubing, and we put it in there so you can tighten this up with some force, and it's not going to collapse your channel, your tubing. Now you'll find this when you have steering boxes bolted on, or many things onto your frame of your vehicle or on the channel in the floor of your car. So if you're putting in your own seat mounts, all kinds of bracketry, and you're going to be going through a channel like that, put a collar inside so it won't squish it, deform it, and then it could actually, become loose over time, right? So that's just something I do. So in the back here, where I've got a seat bolt going right through the frame, I'm putting a collar in there, square tubing, and it's going to stop it from squishing when you tighten it up. So I was trying to think of a good way to explain that, but I hope that works. It's kind of important. You want everything to get really tight, and you don't want to deform anything. So that's one way of dealing with it. So I've got this one welded in. Those holes are drilled. I'm just going to weld in that spacer so it doesn't collapse. And once I do that, I'm going to go cut out my sheet metal, and I'm going to start making this side here. And then Yeah, it's going quite well. Okay. Now I've got to clean all this up, and then I got to prime it. And when the primer's drying, I'll make up this floor piece. The other side I think was 21 by 21 is what I started with. What are we going to be here? Yeah, it looks about right. Yep. Turn on. So I would cut a piece 21 by 21. So there was a good question in the focus group. Why didn't I just lower where the track sits? Well, I figured I'd show so it makes sense, so you don't think I've flipped my toque. These motors and these shafts and everything in here is underneath, and it's right at the bottom of the tracks. So it would have been really nice, but you can see there's no way I'm going to get away with that. So we carry on. But that's a good suggestion. There's always, you know, you always look around and try to find the simplest way. So we carry on. So this looks pretty horrible, but we'll fix that. Just fold it back a bit, and then we'll start fitting it to the tunnel. Guess I should turn this thing a bit. You may be able to see a little bit about what goes on. Okay, now I can start putting out a little more on it. I'm just having a look at how the other side looks. Okay. Okay, that's rough, very rough, but now I'll go fit it. We just run back and forth to the wheel until we get what we want. So we're pretty close. Not bad for initial rough-in. So, just trying to check where I am in relation to where that side is. Okay, that's 19 inches. So I got to go over a bit more. It also means I got to take some of this out right here. I got to make my marks. I want to know where these are. That's the center of my hole. That's the center of my hole. Okay, as I did on the other side, I cut up in here and got rid of some of this that was holding me just a little too far out. So, yeah, if you look on the other side, you curve straight down over the hump, and this comes down and out. So I'm going to move that a little bit, and I'm going to just make some marks right now. That's where my panel sits. That's where my panel sits. So I make sure I don't cut too much. So I'm going to take some more out of here. And then on the other side, I heated up just a little bit along this edge to push it in. So that's what I'll do over here. First thing I'm going to trim. All right, now I'll get the torches. Now, it's supposed to be 19 inches from this bolt hole. There we have it. Yes, that's all I needed. So it's 18 inches to the hole, 19 inches to the kick up, and that's what I was up to there. If I can squeak, yeah, there I can squeak another 1/8 of an inch or so. So I'm gonna do that, and then I can measure the back. And the back, I believe, was 20 and a half. I gotta check. Yes, it was 20 and a half. So for that, right there. That should still be 19. It is. Okay. So that tells me that's where it goes. Awesome. So, let me see. I might fold this over a little bit more at the back here. Roll that in. This is pretty close. I might give it a little bit more. I think I might wheel this down. And I'm going to wheel this down. Yeah. And then this, I can trim. I'm going to have to make some marks on that. Yeah, I'll go pretty shy for now. And this needs to be square. Yeah, it's not that bad. So, I shall carry on. So there it is. And it's gonna sit about there. So I'll clean up, prime underneath here. I think I am going to come back, and I think I will do this after supper, because to get ahead of the game on this. So I'm going to have something to eat and come back and weld this in. Lyle sent me pictures of his shifter. I'm going to try to make a bracket. Very detailed pictures showing me center to center on the holes. So I've welded this in, put both seats in, put them about midway forward, have the steering wheel hanging, and then where does the shifter feel comfortable? So he sent me pictures and measurements. So I'm going to make up a dummy piece of plate, ratchet, something sticking up at the same height, and then I'll move it around on the floor until I think this is the good place to have it, and then we'll tack it in place, and then we'll see. Well, I'm not having a great hair day. Every day is a great hair day. Okay, guys. Now I can trim up and around, tap my way as I go. Right on. So, Casey from Pat's Auto showed up with some parts I ordered. And look at this. He left a doggy treat for Honey on the top of it. Okay, Honey, sit. 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 Good dog. Nice. Sit. Oof. There you go, Casey. Cheers. All right, the floor is in. Now we're going to put both seats in. And we're going to do that so that we can figure out where to put the shifter. Wow, these are heavy. Okay. All right. Well, that's a little far forward. I'll have to bring the battery in here and move them back. Oh, what the hell? These things adjust. Okay, nice. There we go. Okay, battery. Okay. There we go, just like so. I'm trying to figure out about where they would sit. Whoop. That fell out. Basically, when I can get at the bolts, I think that's a good place. So, okay, I'll get some bolts. All right, I have pictures of a shifter. And the shifter is 16 inches tall. So, I have built myself a mockery shifter. Now, where to put it? Don't think you want it back this far. Dark. Now, it's an automatic, so that changes things considerably. It's not like you're going through the gears all the time. So you want to make it somewhere comfortable. You don't want to be pulling back here. I don't know the exact throw, but they're all fairly typical. This is the thing is, he gives me, oh my, this is excellent. This is the thing, working with people who know what I'm gonna have to deal with. Okay, it's an electronic shifter. So I have a page with all the measurements, everything. So I kind of think it's gonna go right there. Now, typically, they're a bit closer to the driver instead of dead center. It feels more comfortable. We've got a pedal here. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. I really like the feel of this. So I got to put a bracket on the tunnel that then the shifter will mount to. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly where the best place for that is. And I think I've found it. Yeah. Okay. So there's nothing I can do to suggest what you should do. It's all about how it feels. It's got to be comfortable, and preferably you can rest your hand on it while you're driving, because that's what we do, even though it's an automatic. So I think just a hair closer to the driver. Yeah. No, I'm digging that. So there, I just moved it another 3/4 of an inch. And that's all there is to it. I don't have the pedal, but that just gets bolted down. Again, it's throttle pedal by wire. So the big thing is, yes, right there. Now I'm going to hang the door and see how that feels. Also critically important.